Welcome back to Harvard. Did President Bush inject himself into the presidential campaign today in Israel? And was he out of line for doing a political hit job on Obama from overseas? Kevin James, a radio talk show host for KRLA in Los Angeles.
Just getting Opie straightened out a little bit on his schoolwork.
Oh, yeah? What's the problem, Op?
History.
Oh, that's funny. History was right up my alley.
What? I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah. History was one of my best subjects.
It was.
Well, yeah, don't you believe me? Well, ask me something. Go ahead, ask me anything.
Let me ask you, what did Chamberlain do wrong, Neville Chamberlain do wrong in 1939? What did he do wrong?
What was the Emancipation Proclamation?
I never heard of it.
You never... I don't know what they're teaching them these days. You tell him, Aunt B.
Me? I wasn't there, land sakes.
Listen to this, Opie. Might learn something. Okay. What was the Emancipation Proclamation?
You kidding? Everybody knows that.
Well, good. Ought to be easy for you then. Go ahead, Barney.
Let me ask you, what did Chamberlain do wrong, Neville Chamberlain do wrong in 1939? What did he do wrong?
Just getting Opie straightened out a little bit on his schoolwork.
Oh, yeah? What's the problem, Op?
History.
Let me ask you, what did Chamberlain do wrong, Neville Chamberlain do wrong in 1939? What did he do wrong?
You kidding? Everybody knows that.
Well, good. Ought to be easy for you then. Go ahead. Tell us about it.
Oh, you're kidding. That's one of the most famous proclamations in history.
Let me ask you, what did Chamberlain do wrong, Neville Chamberlain do wrong in 1939? What did he do wrong?
It all goes back to appeasement.
No, what did he do? Tell me what he did.
It's the key term.
You have to answer this question.
He goes,
what did he do?
It's the same thing. It puts it all,
well, tell me what he did.
About appeasement.
What did Chamberlain do wrong?
His actions enabled, energized, legitimized. It's the exact same.
I'm not going to continue with this interview unless you answer what that thing is. What did Chamberlain do in 39? Tell me.
Chris, it's the exact same thing. All right?
What did he do? What did he do?
What, 38, 39, Chris? What year do you want? It doesn't. It's the exact same thing that happened, Chris.
What did Chamberlain?
He's talking about appeasement.
What did Chamberlain do? Just tell me what he did, Kevin. What did Chamberlain do you didn't like?
Look.
What did he do?
What Chamberlain did what the president was talking about? You just said the president was talking about. You just said the president was talking about Barack. Look,
I want you to tell me, Mister, you're making a reference to the days before our involvement in World War II, when the war in Europe began. I want you to tell me now, as an expert, what did Chamberlain do wrong?
Look, you're not going to box me in here, Chris. President Bush was making that. I'm glad. I'm glad the president.
Do you? I'm glad the president. What Neville Chamberlain did
with Neville Chamberlain, yeah, he was an appeaser, Chris. He was an appeaser, and it energized and it legitimized.
Kevin James, what did Neville Chamberlain do?
Chris, may I try to answer?
He doesn't know.
Chris,
you are BSing me. You are talking about a very critical point in American history and European history, and you can't tell me what Neville Chamberlain did at Munich. What did he do in 39, 38?
Chris, I wasn't the one that raised the Hitler comment. My point is what President Bush has done, as he has taken this shot across the bow.
You don't know what you're talking about, Kevin.
No, what do you mean I don't know what I'm talking about?
Tell me what Chamberlain did wrong.
Neville Chamberlain was an appeaser, Chris.
What did he do?
Neville Chamberlain was an appeaser, all right?
What did he do?
Neville Chamberlain, his policies, the things that Neville Chamberlain supported, all right, energized, legitimized, and made it easier for Hitler to advance in the ways that he advanced.
What? Okay, I'm sitting here for 5 minutes asking you to say what the president was referring to in 1938 at Munich.
I don't know
what you don't know. Thank you.
Chris, I don't know what the president. I don't know what the president was referring to when he talked about what was being said in 1930, in 1939.
Your problem, Kevin, is you don't know what you're talking about. And the problem is you don't understand there's a difference between talking to the enemy and appeasing. What Neville Chamberlain did wrong, most people would say, is not talking to Hitler, but giving him half of Czechoslovakia in '38. That's what he did wrong, not talking to somebody.
Chris,
appeasement is giving away things to the enemy.
But Chris, there's a difference between...
I got to go to somebody who knows some history. Mark Green, help him out with some history here.
This is
pathetic.
Kevin, please.
This is pathetic.
Kevin, you
he
should
doesn't
probably
even know
be quiet.
what Chamberlain did in Munich.
Kevin, when you're in a hole, stop digging. Chris, the reason that you exposed him...
he's as bad as the White House press secretary that doesn't even know what the Cuban Missile Crisis was. We're talking with people with blank slates in terms of history.
What President Bush and Kevin apparently are interested in what they're interested in is rhetoric and not reality. They're interested in loaded words for political slander. Yitzhak Rabin, the former general and prime minister of Israel, who understands terrorism and war better than President Bush, famously said you have to negotiate not only with your friends, but especially with your enemies. So Israel did negotiate, not appease, negotiate with a former enemy Egypt successfully, former enemy Jordan successfully. Now they're negotiating with Syria on the Golan. Kevin, diplomacy and common security in a world of terrorism, proliferation, and pollution is not a four-letter word. It's called diplomacy, and the next president will do it. Rather than militarism first, it'll be talk first.
Well, the Emancipation Proclamation was a proclamation is what it was.
What was it about?
About emancipation. What do you think it was about? What was it about? Use your head, man. It's common knowledge. There was these folks, and how else was they going to get themselves emancipated unless there was a proclamation? So they got themselves a proclamation, and they called it the Emancipation Proclamation.
Yeah.
Kevin? When you're going to make a direct historic reference, get it straight. Thank you, Kevin James.
I didn't make a direct historic reference.
You were trying to defend something you don't know what you're talking about. Up next, what's Jay Leno got? It's not true. You don't understand what appeasement is. Don't use the word. It's giving away things to the enemy, not talking to the enemy.
I trust the American people to understand that it is not weakness but wisdom to talk not just to our friends but to our enemies, like Roosevelt did and Kennedy did and Truman did.